Good evening and welcome to Kaiser University. Tonight we have with us Anthony
Hello.
with Tinsley Creative.
Yes.
What do you do at Tinsley?
What do I do at Tinsley? A little bit of everything, really. We are a full-service marketing agency. What that entails is basically anything your company needs to help you market out into the real world, we do. Website design, bus wraps, billboards, print ads, commercials, any kind of digital media, social marketing now. We just started doing that a lot more. So just about anything a company would need to market themselves, rebrand, all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. And you've been at Tinsley how long?
It'll be 2 years in August.
Okay, I didn't realize it's been that long.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that long either until we were talking about the other
And
day.
I think you work with another Kaiser graphics grad.
Yeah, Brittany Huey.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's been there about the same length of time, a little before you?
Yeah, I think she was there about a year when I started, maybe a little over a year when I started.
Okay.
So she's coming up on either 3 years or 4 years.
Wonderful, wonderful. But this wasn't where you started.
No, it was not.
Can you kind of give us a timeline since you left Kaiser?
Sure. When I first got out of Kaiser, I actually, through the work hire program here, I was an intern at the Ledger doing compositing. So I would sit and build all the ads that you saw in the Ledger. So I did that for 6 months, and they came upon a hiring freeze. And so my internship ended. So I was looking for work. I filled out a resume on Monster.com, and then before I could even send one resume out, I get a phone call. Floyd Publications had gotten a hold of my Monster resume and then called me in for an interview. So I had this nice big portfolio with some of the print ads from both Kaiser that I had done and from the Ledger. And then I was in suit and tie, like I was taught at Kaiser to go into interviews with. And I walked in there. I probably spoke to him for about an hour and a half. Showed him my entire portfolio, went over my previous 6-month experience at the Ledger, and then I left. And then probably about an hour later, I get a phone call and he offered me the job. So he asked me when can I start. I said, I can start tomorrow. So I started there. I started out as just a normal graphic designer working for then art director. And then probably about 3 years into that, the art director left. She found a new opportunity closer to home, so she went and took that, and I became the art director. So I went from doing just the normal ad design everything to actually now building out the entire magazine, and we were running probably about 6-7 magazines at the time in various areas. And we did everything for the magazines. We designed all the ads, we did all the layouts, we provided all the photography. So I went from not having to manage all that to having to manage all that. Unfortunately, the recession did hit, and a lot of our other publications we had to cut out from our outer markets. They still have the main market there, but I was feeling like it was time to move on. I had been there about 8 years, so I decided to put some feelers out, start looking for another job, whether it was here or New York. Go play with the big dogs up there. So I sent a resume. I saw I think it was on Monster. Can't 100% remember. I sent a resume to this company here in Lakeland, at the time called TMR, and I get a phone call within probably about 2 hours of sending the resume. I'm on my way home, and he's like, "Can you come in for an interview?" So I go in there, and I probably spend about an hour talking to him. I spend time talking to they brought in the production manager. Basically, they showed me a bunch of projects that they had done and asked me if any of it scared me. Of course, I said no, even though there were a couple of them I've never touched before, but I knew, I could probably learn how to do it. And then he went out, talked to them, came back, and offered me the job. And now I've been there almost 2 years now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's fun. Now, as you were going through, and I can't remember the name of the actual corporation, but it's basically Focus Magazine.
Yeah. The parent company is Floyd Publications.
Right.
But the magazine itself is Focus Magazine.
Now, you did a couple innovative things there if I recall.
Yes.
With video and web
Yes.
as well?
Yeah. I had a strong video background from high school, thanks in part to Miss McNabb and Ryan Bushy. So I had a very strong video background going into college. And then when I went into the job at Focus, I can't remember how the conversation came up, but I was showing somebody a demo reel of something I had done in high school, and my boss happened to be in the room at the time and saw it and was like, you know how to do that? I said, yeah. Why? He's like, well, because I was thinking about starting a local TV show to go along with the magazine. So we would take the articles we were covering in the magazine and go a little bit deeper in a TV environment. So Focus TV was born. We started off by filming 3 segments, separate segments, and then we would have an actual anchor person, like a news show, and then the 3 segments were people out on location. Obviously, it wasn't live, and it was only offered through the web. But we worked with a web company at the time to produce a website where we just uploaded the videos and it played all the videos. And that actually, we just restarted it up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they just restarted it up. Just to clarify, I do still work for Focus. I'm a freelance designer for them, for the magazine. Basically, it's the same job, but it's freelance now, so it's not as much time. Okay. But I'm still fully involved. I'm still technically the art director of the magazine.
Oh, okay.
It's just on a contract freelance basis now, which works for all parties involved. So I ended up building a website for the magazine, and then there were a couple of clients there who needed websites. So I ended up building their websites as well, which then brought me into the world of WordPress themes and learning how to mod themes. And now I build full WordPress websites for Tinsley Creative.
Okay.
And that we just redid 2 of our big clients, and we're about to redo a third here very shortly.
Okay. We just finished. Actually, I think Sunday was the final end of Web3, in which the students covered WordPress. And so they're very familiar with themes. And I said, most of the big firms in town have used 1 or 2 robust themes. Can you give us a little trade secret here?
So the best themes to use are not themes that are already pre-built. The themes you want to use are the ones that, if you don't like coding everything, you want to use the drag and drop builders. And what that allows you to do, is, with the good ones anyway, there's a lot of bad ones out there, but the really good ones, which I'll give you names in a minute, allow you to literally take their modules and place them wherever you want. You create your rows, you create your columns, and then you place content wherever you want. You can control background images for specific cells. So it's not so much a theme as it is a framework.
Okay.
It's entirely customizable. You do need to know CSS to mod the themes usually, because there are some things that they don't allow you to change within the drag and drop builder itself, but you can change it in CSS.
Okay.
Now the themes I use primarily, there's a company called Elegant Themes. Their Divi theme. It's probably one of the more robust themes that I've ever worked with. And it's very light as far as web load time, which is extremely important, especially when you're working on bigger websites. And it's very easy to institute CSS changes, because most of the modules have a box for custom CSS changes just for that specific section.
That's sweet.
And then the other ones I use are off of Theme Forest, and that's Infold and Avada.
Okay. What do you remember about your Kaiser education? How did that get you ready, and how is that carried forward?
Okay, well, the first thing I remember is standing in front of a group of people, having to give a critique, or present a project, I should say, and we're not talking to students, we're not talking to just my other classmates, because there was only 2 other classmates. I was talking to the actual faculty at the school. So now I'm not only talking to people that are potentially my own age, I'm talking to adults. And I'm fresh out of high school. So adults still scared me. And it doing that actually, though, got me out of the shell. I was kind of in a shell when I first went into high school. Kind of had to break out of that due to the TV stuff.
Right.
And then when I got here, doing those type of presentations broke me out even more. which is probably why I did as well as I did in my interviews, because I was more comfortable talking in front of people than I was previously. And then the start of Kaiser was a little rocky because I went through some teacher changes. I think you were there from the start, but yes. The other teacher, I can't remember her name.
Carrie. I had a Carrie before we had
that's
Carrie.
Right, we did. We had a Carrie before. She left right after video. I guess we had a video class. I guess she had gotten another job, and then the new Carrie came in. This Carrie that we have now, which is
just a replacement Carrie.
She's a replacement Carrie. Just a lot more comfortable. I remember going out. We were at the old location. I don't know how many people know the old location out on Airport Road, and we would actually go out. And I can't draw at all, and she would force us to go outside. I think, I believe it was her. Yeah. She would force us to go outside and draw. And I fought it tooth and nail. I still can't draw. But it taught me to do things I'm uncomfortable with, things that are outside my comfort zone.
Okay.
And I still use that to this day, especially working where I'm now, having to come up with new ideas and go into new directions for our clients.
Excellent. So if you were talking to somebody thinking about going into the field, or somebody who's studying the field currently, what advice would you give them?
Well, what worked for me was learning a multitude of mediums. I didn't just stick to one medium. I didn't just learn print. I didn't just learn video. I didn't just learn web. I kind of spread myself out. And that way, I made myself a very valuable resource for whoever I was employed with. I was never fond of working for myself, doing the freelance. Obviously, I have a couple of freelance clients now, but I like working for a company. I like working in a company environment, not just because of I have less responsibility. I don't have to manage books and stuff like that, but I'm also working with a creative team. So I would say don't limit yourself to one medium. Try all the mediums. Find out which mediums you like. If you don't like a certain medium, fine. You don't have to stick to that medium, but at least give it a shot. Because I can tell you right now, when I started at Tinsley, a big factor for hiring me was because of my web and my video experience. I had massive print experience from the magazine, so they weren't worried about that. But the fact that I could bring web and video, and since then, I've done 4 or 5 commercials, which they've never done in-house before.
Okay.
So we started doing those in-house. I've built 2 or 3 full-on websites, if not more. Which we always outsource. They always outsourced those before. And now we actually are doing a lot more video. We actually purchased equipment and stuff like that, and we're actually branching into that a lot more now. So being a little more well-rounded rather than straight into one specific area is probably the best advice.
Okay, cool. Audience, as I'm peeking under the lights, because I can't see your hands, does anybody have any questions for Anthony? Okay. I see a hand.
Can I ask you one thing? I'm just curious. How do you feel to be a graduate of Kaiser University?
How do I feel to be a graduate of Kaiser University? Well, I actually come back here quite often to give a guest lecture, so if that tells you anything. I really like coming back here. I've found that not only the education here, but the instructors, obviously I can come here and talk to them about anything, or if I need help with something or any other projects going on that I need help with, but also the students, talking to them sometimes. Obviously I have a lot to offer as far as experience goes, but sometimes they'll say something, or I'll see them do something, and they'll click something in here, and then they go, I'm going to go home and try that. So it's a great resource not only for education, but also post-graduation, to come back and talk to the kids. I feel like I'm talking to high schoolers. It can be any age here, right? But yeah, doing that and being able to have a creative environment to come back to and talk to.
We always love to have you. We appreciate you coming in and speaking with the students. Anytime. Providing seminars with your photography business, and
we need to do that again soon.
We do.
That was fun.
August 3rd, I think, but we'll talk about that after
Okay.
the camera quits rolling.
All right.
All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Anthony, for being here.